You're looking at two premium hearing aids, the Oticon Intent and the Signia Pure Charge and Go IX. Both are at the top of the market. Both cost serious money. And if you ask the companies, both are the best thing since sliced bread. So which one is actually better?
If you're navigating hearing loss or struggling with ringing in your ears, then you've come to the right place. The All Ears Hearing and Tinnitus podcast is your go-to source for expert insights, real stories, and cutting-edge solutions in hearing health. We'll dive into the latest advancements in hearing healthcare, explore groundbreaking treatments for tinnitus, and offer practical tips for better hearing. Here to help you tune into a world of better hearing, here's your host from Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus, Dr. Layne Garrett.
I'm Dr. Layne Garrett, founder of Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus here in Utah, and I've been fitting hearing aids for over 20 years, and we use both of these hearing aids in our clinic. I'm not here to sell you one brand over the other. I'm here to help you understand what's actually different between them, because the difference is real and it matters depending on what your brain and your hearing loss actually need. So let's cut through the marketing and talk about what these hearing aids actually do. Both Oticon and Signia are legitimate, well-engineered hearing aids. Both use AI, both have deep neural networks. Both are going to sound better than any hearing aid from 5 years ago. But they're built on completely different philosophies about how hearing aids should process sound. And that philosophy difference, not just the specs, is what determines which hearing aid works for you. Signia's approach is to isolate the speech and suppress the noise, trying to give you a cleaner, more focused signal. Their integrated experience platform uses a dual processor system, one chip dedicated to speech, one to noise, and it genuinely works well for people who want sharp, conversation-first sound. Oticon's approach is fundamentally different. They call it brain hearing. The idea is that your brain, not the hearing aid, should be the one deciding on what to focus on. So Oticon preserves the full 360-degree soundscape and gives your brain access to everything. The AI and the deep neural network work to clean up the sound quality without artificially narrowing your listening field. And that's not a small difference. That's a completely different theory of how hearing aids should work. Now maybe you're thinking, I don't care about processing philosophy. I just want to hear better. That's fair, but let me ask you something. When you're at a family dinner, are you tracking conversations happening around a table, or are you only able to focus on who's directly in front of you? Or maybe when someone calls from you across the room and you're not looking directly at them, can you catch that? Do you ever feel like your hearing aids are doing the work a little too aggressively, like the world sounds flat or a bit artificial? Or do you have tinnitus alongside your hearing loss? Do you wonder whether a hearing aid that reduces your access to the full sound environment might actually make that worse? These aren't random questions. They're exactly what separates people who thrive with Signia from people who do better with Oticon. And most people don't know to ask them until they've already bought the wrong hearing aid. Now let me go deeper on the philosophy differences between these two companies, because this is where the clinical rubber meets the real road. Signia's integrated experience uses what they call augmented focus, an active interventional system that separates speech from background noise at the processing level. Think of it like a spotlight. It finds the voice, brightens it, and dims everything else. For someone in a one-on-one conversation in a noisy place, this can work beautifully. You get clarity, you get focus, you get less effort in the moment. The trade-off is you're getting a curated version of your sound environment. The hearing aid is making decisions about what you should hear. And when those decisions are wrong, when you want to hear something from the side, or you need to stay aware of your surroundings, you might miss it. Oticon works from a different direction. Their DNN 2.0, their second-generation deep neural network, was trained on over 13 million real-world sound scenes. It's not isolating speech and killing the rest. It's cleaning up the full sound environment and handing that signal to your brain, which then does its own natural focusing. And with intent specifically, Oticon added something no other hearing aid had done before, 4D sensor technology. The device actually recognizes your head movements, your body movements, and conversation activities in the acoustic environment simultaneously. When you turn your head towards someone, the device knows you're engaging with them. When you're walking, it knows you're in a different listening mode than when you're sitting still at dinner. and it adjusts accordingly automatically without you having to do anything. In independent lab testing by HearAdvisor, standardized acoustic protocols applied consistently across every brand, Oticon Intent ranked number 1 out of 34 prescription hearing aids tested. Its speech and noise score came in 2.18 points above the category average. To put that in plain terms, in acoustic lab testing, a 2-point gap is significant. It's the difference between following the conversation across the table and just catching bits and pieces of it between the background noise. Signia's own research cites a 22% improvement in speech understanding in group conversations, but that's a proprietary internal comparison, not a third-party independent test. That distinction matters when you're making a several $1,000 decision. Now let me tell you what Signia actually does better, because if I don't, this isn't a real comparison, it's a sales pitch, and that is battery life. Signia's device gets up to 39 hours on a single charge. The Intent from Oticon is around 20 hours with moderate streaming. If you work long shifts, travel a lot, or just hate thinking about charging, Signia has the real advantage there. They also developed something called own voice processing. Signia is the only hearing aid company that actively processes the wearer's own voice as a separate sound. When new hearing aid users say that their voice sounds hollow or boomy, that's called occlusion, and it's one of the most common early complaints with hearing aid users. Signia addresses it directly in the hardware. Oticon handles it through fitting and venting strategies, which works when done right, but it isn't automatic the way Signia's is. And style variety. Until early 2026, Signia had more discrete in-ear options at the premium tier. So how do you decide which one is for you? If your primary challenge is exhausting one-on-one conversations in noise, and you want the hearing aids to do all the heavy lifting for you, Signia's approach may work the best. And if you get easily overstimulated by background noise, if what you really want is for the world just to quiet down so you can focus on the person in front of you, Signia is not a runner-up here. It's likely your first choice, especially if you're also dealing with that boomy or own voice discomfort early on. But if noise is your absolute primary complaint, if you're in loud, chaotic environments all day and speech clarity in that kind of chaos is the only thing that matters, there's actually a third option worth knowing about here. That's the Starkey Edge AI. Now, if you move between environments, throughout your day you need to stay aware of your surroundings, deal with tinnitus alongside your hearing loss, or want a hearing aid that's backed with the deepest independent clinical evidence, the Oticon Intent is where I'd start. And whichever direction we go, it needs to be verified with real ear measurements. The most sophisticated hearing aids in the world will underperform if it has not been properly fitted and verified with real ear measurements. The device matters, but the fitting process from your audiologist matters even more. Now, if you want to go deeper before making any decisions, our Learning Center is free and it's thorough. There's detailed guides on hearing loss, hearing aids, and tinnitus treatment written for people who want to actually understand what they're dealing with, not just someone's word for it. You can find a link to that Learning Center in the description. And if you're here in Northern Utah and you want to actually experience the difference between the different hearing devices, not just hear about it, come in. We will also do real ear measurements and speech and noise testing and let your own results tell you which one works best for your brain. That's a different conversation than most clinics are having. A link to make an appointment can also be found in the description.
A world of better hearing and relief from tinnitus is within reach, and we're here to help. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast right now and join us on the journey to clearer sound and a richer life. Thanks for listening to the All Ears Hearing and Tinnitus podcast with Dr. Layne Garrett. We'll see you next time.